More Battlefield 2042 Season 1 details were data mined, Star Wars Jedi Survivor might tie in with Disney's Obi Wan Kenobi show, Modern Warfare 2 could be available on Steam, and much more on Today in Gaming. Data miner Tempriel released his latest findings for Battlefield 2042 Season 1, and according to him, Season 1 will be called 0 Hour. It'll introduce a new specialist named Ewelina Liss, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. They'll come with a guided rocket launcher as their unique ability. The character model Tempriel included with his release has a binocular night vision headset and a pretty beefy looking chest carrier rig. They also appear to have a poncho of some sort. 0 Hour will also add 2 new helicopters that are both stealth choppers. They're the RAH-68 Shoshone and the KA-99 Hannibal. Both helicopters have a pilot and gunner seat. As for the new map coming with Season 1, Exposure was previously data mined by Tempriel. This is a map set in Canada and was more or less confirmed in DICE's recent 2042 development update video. The new map will be available in 2 dedicated playlists. The first is the Conquest 24/7 and the second is called Exposure Mayhem. The latter will feature faster projectile and movement speed, faster vehicle spawns, and faster deployment. This sounds sort of like it could be part of a Portal experience. Finally, 0 Hour will have 2 Battle Pass purchase options. The first unlocks the Premium Battle Pass tiers, the second gives you 20 tiers right off the get-go. Now, obviously, all of this information is speculation until proven otherwise. Thankfully, we shouldn't have to wait too long to find out. DICE are releasing information about Season 1 in early June. That info should cover everything in Season 1, plus more info about the map updates for Kaleidoscope and Renewal. The one thing that we don't know going into Season 1 is what DICE are planning for their Specialist rework. They're holding off on releasing any information on this issue until we have a more concrete plan. Respawn announced their sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Survivor continues Cal's story from the first game, and fans have figured out that there's serious potential for a crossover with Disney's latest Star Wars show, Obi Wan Kenobi. The game is set 10 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith, which places it at the same time as the show. Cal's droid companion also made an appearance in the Book of Boba Fett's show. Survivor launches sometime next year. Depending on how late into the year it launches, we'll probably get a more in-depth trailer either this holiday season or during the usual E3 reveals next June. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 artwork was briefly available on Steam. An image from the upcoming game's key art feature Ghost was at the bottom of the DLC page for the franchise. Call of Duty games have been exclusive to the Activision Blizzard's Battle.net client following the release of Black Ops 3. Modern Warfare 2 being on Steam doesn't really excite me that much when I first hear it, but it could mean that the game will be featured in Steam sales. It could also mean a massive increase in player count since Steam is one of the most popular PC gaming platforms. A new Cyberpunk 2077 leak has seemingly confirmed claims made earlier in the year by data miners. The new leak consists of dialogue lines taken from the game's upcoming expansion. And I'll avoid any major spoilers, but the expansion is set in an area Pacifico called the Combat Zone. This area is currently inaccessible despite appearing in the game's art book. It'll include a sports dome stadium players can explore. The leak also suggests the expansion will feature a new character named Songbird. In addition to several side missions, players will have 7 major story missions to complete in this DLC. It's also likely the expansion will ship alongside another major update to the game that adds new features, fixes bugs, and reworks existing content. The DLC is scheduled to launch next year. The leaks suggesting that Sony and Microsoft are both launching mid-generation console refreshes next year have kicked the hornet's nest of controversy. Many gamers across social media express concern that the hardware companies are dividing their manufacturing capacities during a supply shortage, which could make it even harder to buy a current-gen console. The good-ish news is that Sony says the supply of the PlayStation 5 will normalize around 2024. The availability of current-gen consoles has slowly been improving in recent months. The Xbox Series S is generally pretty easy to get, followed by the Series X and then the PlayStation 5. If you're savvy with your shopping, there's a pretty good chance you can snag a PS5 when stores like Best Buy and Target do a restock. Of course, not everyone has the time to visit stores in person multiple times a week, and online stock typically gets bought up pretty instantly. 2024 is a long way off, especially if you're eager to play some of the next-gen titles, but at least there are signs of life returning to normal. Valve is finally making an effort to save their arcade shooter Team Fortress 2. Despite it being 15 years old, Team Fortress 2 remains one of the most popular multiplayer games in the world, but bots have been plaguing the game for over 2 years. These bots abuse exploits to boost the user's account, acquire in-game items, or grief legitimate players. They're so prevalent that the only way to avoid them is via community servers running with diligent admins or their own bots that counteract the malicious ones. Fans held a protest of Valve's inaction last week and got the hashtag Save Team Fortress 2 trending. The game's official Twitter account announced that fans are heard and major improvements are in development. As for what those improvements are, it seems likely that Valve will patch many of the exploits bots are currently using. It also seems likely that they'll expand Steam's Trust Factor system to third-party services. Trust Factor uses machine learning, account history, in-game interactions, and more to determine the legitimacy of a player's account. Developers can use it to filter out bots and cheaters from the matchmaking pool of a game. Valve said that they would be expanding the service a few years ago, but nothing materialized. Diablo Immortal is skipping its release in Belgium and the Netherlands because of loot boxes. Both countries have strict regulations regarding in-game gambling and have actively pursued legal action against major publishers like EA. Activision Blizzard recently announced the game would be available on PC and mobile devices. It was initially revealed as an exclusive mobile game. The less than global release could put a damper on the game's launch. It's unclear if downloading and playing the game via a VPN will get your account banned. When asked directly, a spokesperson for the developer said that they haven't issued bans for VPN players in the past, but they can't guarantee that that will apply with Immortal. The relaunch of PvPvE looter shooter The Cycle kicks off on June 8th. The update has been available via a series of alphas and betas over the past few months and serves as a total overhaul for the original game. You'll still land on a hostile alien planet full of alien wildlife and side missions, but the focus is more on survival and extracting with loot this time around. It's structured a bit more like Escape from Tarkov than a traditional battle royale game. In fact, there's no winner-takes-all ending to matches. You drop in as server instances open and close with a set amount of time to secure your loot and get out. Before I get to today's final story, please consider subscribing. It takes a couple of extra clicks, but it goes a long way to helping support my channel and what I do here. Sniper Elite 5's developers are working on bug fixes for some significant issues. There's a handful of crashes players will experience on all platforms, but there's also one specific to the Windows Store version of the game. They recommend disabling Easy Anti-Cheat and running the game as an administrator to get around that one. The devs are also working on progress halting bugs and a handful of missions and performance issues across the entire game. They've already fixed some of the issues and the game just launched last Thursday, so you should expect some quick updates in the next few weeks. And that wraps it up for today in gaming. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.